Hey, Michael Church, Crawlspace Ninja. I'm here with Brock from Aprilaire, and today we're going to cover error code E3, which is the remote control communication loss that you may see on all Aprilaire dehumidifiers that have the same error code, so it's not confusing between the different models, right?
Yeah, we set it up so it's simple. All the same plugs, very similar on the inside. So whatever code you have, if you've seen it on an E80, then you can probably fix it pretty easily on an E70 or an E130.
And we just want to let everybody know that Aprilaire has been so kind to put together this error code field guide for us, and we're going to make this available on the DIY store, and we'll put a link to this down below. So it's got all the error codes in there, what you need to do in order to troubleshoot and correct that. So thanks, Brock, for doing that for us.
Yeah, no problem.
Tell us about this one and some of the pitfalls you might run into on this one too.
Yeah, the remote control communication loss, that's really going to happen for two reasons. The main one is you have an external control hooked up to the unit. So either our wired Model 76, which allows you to adjust the relative humidity from the living space, or the other one would be a Wi-Fi application where you have it connected to our S86 WMU-PR thermostat, which allows you to control the unit via Wi-Fi on your phone. Some of the older thermostats, because we just launched the S86 this past year, are going to have an 8620W. So that's a little bit of a different control, but same way in terms of fixing this issue. The first thing that everybody needs to know is the difference between a remote application and an external application. So a remote application is when you're going to be installing that Model 76 simple controller that goes into your home. What that's doing is that is going to allow you to adjust the relative humidity. If you have the Model 76 in your bedroom or wherever you're going to monitor it, you can do that. It's actually going to be reading the relative humidity from the unit. So that's very, very important to know. When you switch over to the external side of things with the Wi-Fi, that is actually going to be reading from the thermostat. So very similar to your HVAC system. So if you have the Wi-Fi application and you actually put that thermostat in the home, that unit isn't going to shut off until the relative humidity has reached the correct set point of where that thermostat is.
So the Model 76 reads from where the DHU is.
Correct.
All the time. There's no way to make it read from where the Model 76 is located. Is that correct?
I would say that is correct.
Okay. And then the S86, which by the way, we just did an install video of, and we'll put a link to that down below if you want to see how to install the S86. It actually works the same way as your heating and air thermostat, where it's pulling from the location of the S86 thermostat.
Correct.
And that way, if you wanted to put the DHU up in your attic, for example, it's not testing the humidity of your attic if that DHU is controlling the humidity in your living space.
Exactly. Okay. And we do have some wireless sensors now that are available for the Model S86. So what you could do is if you wanted to put that thermostat down in the living space, you could actually put sensors wherever you're looking to dehumidify. So at that point, you'd be able to average that relative humidity. If you want to take care of the living space a little bit, right, you could put it down there, but then making sure that you have those sensors located throughout. And then something that's a little bit more creative too with the S86, since you're reading it from that unit itself, if you have a very large crawl space, you may want to put that S86 Wi-Fi way at the other end of the crawl space. So then you'll know that you're really getting that equilibrium in terms of the relative humidity. It'll work either way, but sometimes just to be safe, maybe you think there might be some moisture that could collect in the far reaches, or maybe you have a hidden space and you haven't, put in ductwork around there. Right. It'll let you know that you're taking care of that space.
So if I'm running the S86, what do I put the mode on?
You put the mode on external.
External, okay.
So think about it in this way. When it says external, it's reading it externally. Okay. It's a little bit confusing, so always have this handy manual that we've got available in the store so you can make sure you have the right application.
Well, Brock, thank you for setting the stage. Now give us the information about the E3 error code and how to address that, if you don't mind.
There's really going to be two reasons why you're going to get this E3 code. One is going to be that you have the DHU set up improperly. So maybe you have remote or external enabled and there's no control connected to it. So the dehumidifier is saying, hey, I don't see anything here. I'm getting an error. The second is going to be that the wires may have come loose and you're not getting power to that thermostat or that control. The first thing that I like to do is check all of your wires. So make sure it's connected and also make sure that you have it set up properly. Okay. So when you're having that Model 76 on there and you're getting the code, you're going to want to hit the mode and up button on the user interface. It's going to take you through a menu. you want to make sure that you have remote mode enabled and external disabled. And then vice versa, if you have the S86 attached to it, you want to make sure that you have external enabled and that you have remote disabled. Okay. So that's going to be telling the unit how it should be communicating back and forth. So if you get those wires back connected well, you see that you have, remote enabled for the 76 or external enabled for the S86. That's kind of a tongue twister there. If you're still not getting that code to go away after you turn the unit off and back on, then you likely have a problem with the control itself and you'll need to replace that. Other than that, I see the biggest issue you have is either those wires aren't getting contact or that you just have the unit set up improperly.
You installed a dehu in your attic, and you said you got this error code because trying to connect everything, you accidentally knocked a wire off, right? Is that basically what happened?
It is, yeah. So you see this a lot in crawl space work, in an attic work. You're kind of working in a tight space. You've got tiny little screws that you're trying to put these wires into, and once you kind of go to put the backing back on the control, sometimes one of those wires will pop loose. So I always recommend tighten those really well and give them a little tug before you actually snap the unit back together.
Well, Brock, thank you so much for explaining error code E3, and appreciate all of you watching this. Hopefully it was very helpful. Let us know if you have any comments or questions down below. And I'm Michael Church with Crawl Space Ninja with Brock from Aprilaire. We hope you make it a happy and blessed day, and we'll see you later.